See, I really hope if aliens are real, they don't look like this. Could you imagine aliens are real and they're like, we come from France? No, it's more like these aliens are just hypothetically, we only hear them, we don't know what they look like, and we want to make friends with these aliens, and they look like this. And everyone's like, ooh. Yeah, they're like, can we explore your New York City? No. We're closed, actually. Earth is closed. So you can go back, and we'll let you know when we're ready. Thank you. So, Chad, this is Thalassophobic Curiosities. For those that don't know, that means fear of deep water. This is a collection of images and videos and words by Slender Ender Guy. Here's the criteria. I picked the following entries based on if they look or have attributes that are otherworldly, alien, creepy, or bizarre. Basically things that some of you may not want to encounter in the ocean. Chat, the anglerfish. This is probably one of the most famous ones. If you've played Outer Wilds, you might know a little bit about it. As terrifying as they look, almost all of them are small. They possess a lure to attract prey to their gaping mouths. You see a majority of the time, the ones that you see are females. The males are very small and don't look frightening. So, for example, this one is a male anglerfish. Oh, yeah, I mean, that's actually pretty cute. However, the males are still freaks of nature. If you know how fish mate, throw that information out the window. What the male would do is bite onto the female and hold on until they fuse with the body and become a vestigial husk. What? To put it simply, the male becomes a living nutsack for the females, and they will remain that way until they die. Sometimes more than one male can latch onto a female at a time. Well, this is very, oh god. It's very academic when you hear something like, they become an actual nutsack. But here's another of the female anglerfish. Oh, that one's weird. I don't like things with lots of, just my brain rejects it. If there's like lots of like strands or legs, yeah. Snailfish. These fish may look more weird than scary, but what makes them scary is where they live. They live in the deepest known parts of the ocean, including the Mariana Trench. If you were at that depth, you would implode in less than a nanosecond or instantly. So as an example, here we have depth chart, so you can kind of see how far down that is. And yeah, I'm assuming that Hadopelagic, I might be saying that wrong, is the Mariana Trench. So that is really, 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 really far down. So here's more. I like these snailfish though, they look cool. They look surprisingly normal too for how like far down they live. Slimy though. They're just like fleshy, weird, blobby fish. And I wonder what happens when you take them out of pressure. Because like the blobfish ends up becoming a very strange looking creature. You just saw? They explode, they fall apart. This is the Barreleye fish. This thing fits the definition of alien. It looks how a normal fish would look until you get to its head. Incredibly sensitive eyes are protected with a transparent dome-like membrane. Yeah, alien is a great way to describe that, considering you can see through their fucking skull. It's really cool, though. It almost looks like a dolphin head when you look at it like from the side profile. Next is the Telescopefish. Whoa! I'll admit this does look unnerving. They have really sensitive eyes that can spot the slightest traces of bioluminescence. They will usually sit upwards with their eyes pointing towards the surface in hopes of having prey swim in their line of sight. This is very... I don't like it, chat. This is very disturbing. This is a very disturbing looking creature. Oh, that's a different looking one. Or maybe that's with its mouth fully closed. The Sarcastic Fringehead. I'm not kidding, that's the name of this fish. These look like ordinary fish with a vibrant color palette, but when it opens its mouth, it ends up looking like a yachtja from the Predator movie series. They may look intimidating, but that's the point. Their odd mouth structure is used to intimidate those who trespass in their territory. They will also use their mouths in territorial disputes by pressing each other's gaping mouths together to determine who's bigger. the loser gets evicted from its home. They are aggressive, but be thankful they only get up to 1 foot long and that their bites are not really painful. Don't really quote me on the biting thing. I can only guess based on its teeth. Goddamn. Shit's weird. There it is. Oh god, it does look like the predator a little bit. And that, like, dinosaur, too. That one dinosaur, that spit. Not worth risking it for the throat game, chat. Now listen. Listen. Who would win in a fight, a sarcastic fringehead or a sarcastic cringehead? Someone had to know I was going to say that, right? Someone. Sunfish or mola mola. This is I'm very aware of these fish. They're really, really interesting. These fish are recognizable for its unusual body shape and large size. They're the biggest bony fish with a mass weighing up to 6,000 pounds. The reason they're called sunfish is because of their habit of floating to the ocean surface on their sides, basking in the sunlight. One of the most fascinating things about these fish is their growth. They start their lives only being a few millimeters in size before growing into the behemoths they are. Tiny to absolutely tremendous. The Oarfish. This is another kind of famous one. Animal Crossing has some of these fish. These fish are the longest bony fish in the world. Some saying they could grow up to 50 feet long. The longest specimen reported was 36 feet long, even though most are seen with a length of 10 feet long or a little over. Wow. That is nuts. I can see why people would confuse them or like, you know, have a legend of like a sea serpent if they saw something like this. Like, that's nuts. Marine hatchetfish. Huh. These bizarre-looking fish give off an unsettling gaze that you could lose a staring contest to. Since they live close enough to the surface but deep enough to faintly see ambient light, they have the ability to mask themselves by using photophores, lining their stomachs to match the brightness of the ambient light. This allows them to hide in the open and tricks predators into thinking that there is nothing swimming above them. Wow. Active camo. Someone said, what the fuck is the point of fish? What do they even do? I mean, you could really kind of argue that for any life. Like, what does anything do? We're just kind of here. I don't know, dog. We swim, they swim, whatever. You know? Don't think too hard about it. Go play some video games. Ooh, okay. It says 53 is good emote material. Well, that is picture 53. Man. This fellow is the deep sea lizardfish. With a haunting face like that, it's no wonder they have the title of being the deepest apex predators of the sea. They hunt at crushing depths reaching 8,500 feet. Wow. Don't let their scary appearance trick you. They only grow up to being around 2.1 feet and can only eat small fish and crustaceans. It's nice that usually the scariest looking things are only like tiny. That's good. It's not always the case, but it's kind of like a natural nerf over time. I mean, they're kind of like ugly cute. I like them. Fangtooth. Fuck this thing. Appropriately named ogrefish, they are considered to be one of the scariest fish according to some reputable sources, aka top list ranking YouTube channels. They do have the biggest teeth in proportion to any animal currently alive. They aren't blessed with the deep sea gigantism and only grow up to around 7 inches. Plus, their eyes can't see very well. But to make up for their bad sight, they're lined with sensory organs that can help them feel the slightest movements around them. So that's good. Again, there's like small mercies around on this planet. Deep sea dragonfish. This is a cool looking one. That looks more like the Mario 64 eel. That's cool. These are indeed worthy of their title, Dragonfish, but just like almost everything else so far, they aren't even close to being big. In fact, these fish are usually tiny when they're sighted alive in their natural habitats, but some have been documented being around 20 inches. Enough about sizes, though. These fish are specialized predators. Some species have 2 photophores under each eye. One lights up blue, which usually attracts prey. The other one lights up red and is used as a searchlight. Red colors are usually invisible at these depths, but their eyes have evolved to boost the reds in the light spectrum. To put it simpler, these fish are cheaters and have wall hacks enabled. In a recent study, it has been discovered that the fish's entire body can flash blue. Not much is known about this behavior, but my guess is that it's used to deter or startle predators. Very interesting. That just looks like the xenomorph in its, like, early state. Like, this is like what comes out of a xenomorph's mouth. That is Giger. Very much so. Yeah, if you take away the eye. Wow, that's really small, though. It's just, of course, when you see it like this, like super up close, it's the scariest fucking looking thing you've ever seen. Looks like an eggplant. Oh, there it is. There's the body flashing blue. Cool. Really interesting creature. Alright, this next one is the Chimera. These abyss-dwelling fish have cartilage instead of bones, and their faces are dotted with sensory organs which detect electrical signals in the water. If these features sound like they belong to a shark, chimeras are closely related to sharks and rays. They're sometimes nicknamed ghost shark due to their ghostly appearance. Yeah. That checks out. Oh, wow. Bigger than I thought. That's a very, very strange shape. And then there's this one with a big floppy nose, and I'm no longer frightened. Coelacanth, everybody. It took me a while to learn how to pronounce that. Would just play Animal Crossing and be like, Coelacanth, Coelacanth, the living definition of a living fossil. These fish were originally thought to have gone extinct 64 million years ago, but they were rediscovered in 1938 off the coast of South Africa. Thanks to this rediscovery and their current fossil records, it's believed that these fish have been around for 400 million years and have seen little to no evolution during their time in seclusion. Sadly, only 2 species remain as of today. Even though they've endured the reign of the dinosaurs and the previous mass extinctions, maybe it's best we leave these living fossils alone to ensure the longevity of their species. Well, if they haven't evolved much, maybe this is like endgame for, like, humans. This is the Earth creature. It's peak form. It may not look it, chat, but this is the peak body that everyone desires. Earth has produced its perfect species, and it's just chilling in a dark cave. They're really cool looking too, aren't they? Massive. Oh, it's smiling. The next one, chat, is called the Black Swallower. They will attempt to swallow any fish bigger than themselves whole thanks to their incredibly elastic stomachs. But this does have some drawbacks. Sometimes they will eat prey that's a little too big and will eventually rip open, occasionally allowing some prey to swim free. Wow. Other times, depending on the size of the prey, there's not enough time for them to completely digest and will start to decompose inside the stomach. As decomposition takes place, gases will start to release and that will end up inflating the stomach, making the fish float up to the surface. What a wretched fucking existence. Someone just said in chat, stupid idiot fish. It doesn't know any better. It's just, I mean... Oh, I've seen this image. Oh god. That's this thing? Yeah, that is actually, like, kind of disturbing sight. Fucking hell, it's the nutsack. No, it's not the nutfish, that's a different one. Hagfish. These fish are truly primitive. They have 5 hearts, no true eyes, and most notably, no stomach. They sometimes prey on small invertebrates, but these fish are master scavengers. They'll eat anything dead or decaying with possibly the most unnatural set of jaws I've ever seen. But what they're most known for is the way they defend themselves. They can produce copious amounts of translucent, sticky slime in order to deter predators, sometimes clogging the attacker's gills and suffocating them in the process. The amount of slime one can produce is mind-boggling. There was an incident that happened back in 2017 where a truck carrying several hagfish overturned and turned the area into what some call a goon cave. Oh man, and there's a news report of this. Once again, chat, behave yourselves, it says here. Alright, here, let's take a look at these images. Ah! Oh, no! It really do be looking like that shit, though. Oh, God! I can't believe that. How did the truck overturn?
How often do first responders go out on a call only to find nearly $200,000 worth of fish strewn about the ground? Take a look at some pictures and video from the scene.
That is
quite unbelievable images, if you ask me. This all unfolded around noon today.
And they're all like
carrying
gonna die
hagfish,
now, I guess.
Also
That
known
sucks.
as slime eel, overturned. Listen to this: 7,500 pounds of fish spilled onto the highway. 101 was covered in slime. So too were a bunch of vehicles that had crashed into each other as a result of what happened. It was quite the mess.
Oh God!
Firefighters tell me they used 5,000 gallons of water to clean the highway. Obviously, a lot of people getting a good chuckle out of this one. Social media, of course, is blowing up with comments, and
Why?
we'll take a look at some of those comments later on in the newscast.
Don't take a look at the comments. Don't look at the comments. Don't look at the comments. Don't look at the comments. All right, cool. Wow, that's a crazy story. I'm surprised I hadn't heard of that one. These little guys are bastards. They've developed into parasites and evolved the right equipment for the job. They're called Cookiecutter Sharks because of how they feed. Their foreskin-looking mouth is built for sticking onto prey via suction, which allows them to take chunks out of whatever it wants, including people. When they're done feeding, they will leave behind a perfect circle of exposed flesh. Wow. Their mouth suckers are very disturbing to me. Oh, God! Yeah, I actually, oh God, that's what it looks like when it takes a chunk out of a shark. Nature is cruel. And yet giving, but cruel nonetheless. The frilled shark. These sharks are considered to be living fossils since they haven't really evolved for about 80 million years. They live and hunt in the cold, dark abyss, so they're hardly ever seen. Not only that, but they have a gestation period of 3.5 years. Fun fact. The shark was possibly used as a reference material for the designer of the second form of our favorite king of monsters in the movie Shin Godzilla. I think we have an image that we can... Whoa! Oh, no, that actually... I just, like, recoiled looking at that. Imagine your arm caught in there? Yeah, I don't like this thing. I can see why it was used as inspiration for a kaiju film. Oh, there it is. That's kind of funny. That's really what he looks like in his second form. Goblin Shark. I'm aware of this one. These guys should need no introduction. Just like the previous entry, they spend most of their lives in and hunt in the deep depths of the ocean. Food doesn't come by often, so they've evolved to be opportunistic predators. The reason they're so well known is because of how they hunt. When prey is close, their jaws pop out like the eyes of a stress relief doll. I know there's someone getting bit in the footage, but they're fine. The shark's jaws are pretty weak. We got footage? Oh, in this footage. Right. I've seen this before. Yeah, the jaw thing is nuts. This is just, you know, millions upon millions of years of all the right elements creating life. You see something like this, and my question, it kind of goes back to the chat member from a little while ago, and I'm just like, why? Man, it's fascinating. It is absolutely fascinating. Wow, it's a squid. Specifically the Firefly Squid. These small squids don't really look remarkable. Look like an average squid you might normally see in a seafood market, but they're entirely covered in photophores, allowing them to glow a beautiful blue color. Plus, they tend to travel in groups, so if you're lucky enough to see them, you might be treated to an ethereal light show. Nice. You know what it looks like? It looks like a drone show, or like a hologram. I'm surprised we don't have these in underwater tunnels to be exploited for people's enjoyment. I don't mean that as a good thing, but I just you would assume that would happen. Next one is the cockeyed squid. Good name. The name of the squid says everything you need to know, but I'll still give a brief description. Sometimes called the strawberry squid, these squids have evolved an unusual adaptation to help them see in the dark depths of the ocean. One of their eyes is normal sized and does normal things like a squid eye should, but the other eye is much larger and aims upwards. This eye helps them spot predators and prey above them and absorbs as much ambient light as possible to aid in seeing in the dark. So, oh, look at that. Oh, that's so weird. This is the most perfect music for this creature, too. What an amazing piece of video this is. However, for this next thing, I'll tell you what I think when I look at this. I won't. These phallic-shaped, oh god damn it, and appropriately named worms are usually small, but they can sometimes grow up to 2 feet in length. Wow. And this is the peanut worm, everybody. Not the peanut. They don't live eventful lives. They spend most of their time burrowing on the ocean floor and eating detritus with a retractable mouth part called an introvert. That even includes filtering through sand. Chat, there's just so much here. You know, like the word peanut, the way it looks. They could be small or 2 feet. They don't live eventful lives. They're burrowing. Their mouth part is called an introvert. Anyway, here's another one. Okay, that's at least a little bit okay. Okay, I don't like the shape of that thing. I don't like the shape of it at all. It freaks me out, chat. Why peanut? There's another word right there. There's a word available that's similar to peanut. This is the acorn worm. Before you say anything, I am well aware that these look very panicular. Grow up. Chat, I'm not saying that. That's literally written here. I wasn't going to say it. The previous one was panicular. What? This thing is like purple. It's panicular. It is. Anyway, these worms are like peanut worms in similar ways. They spend time digging through the sand and filtering edible bits out of the sand on the ocean floor. But what sets them apart from the peanut worms are their descendants. We share about 70% of genes with these worms, meaning that our DNA and the worm's DNA can be traced back to an early common ancestor. Knowing that, how does it feel that our very early ancestors were tubes that ate crap off the ocean floor? No, brother, that's not possible. That's impossible, brother. The Lord put these melperts here. Oh, they make little patterns while just trying to eat garbage off the floor. So next time you think your life isn't going the way you want, or like you're not really doing much with it, just remember that there are purple-headed penises on the ocean floor eating like ejaculate and fucking dead skin cells from fish, and that's their entire life. They don't do anything else. I mean, the easy thing would be to say that that's still more valuable than insert name of person you don't like here, but Vinny, why would you say that? I'm the streamer. Next is the peacock mantis shrimp. I'm positive that a lot of you know what these little bastards are, and I'll even go so far as saying that some of you might even own one in a saltwater aquarium. If you do own one, you have balls. Even though these things are thought of as shrimp, they are stomatopods, or stomatopods, which are related to crabs and lobsters. The eyes on these guys are the most advanced eyes of the animal kingdom. We can only see with 3 photoreceptors, which are red, green, and blue, but their eyes have 16 photoreceptors, which is the whole spectrum, and then some, meaning they can see colors that we can't even imagine. They can even see UV light and polarized light. In addition to this, they have club-like appendages that they use to deliver the fastest punch in the world. They can cripple most prey, and can even fuck up the hand of a person, hence why they're called the thumb splitters. That's actually insane. I mean, not only did they get the craziest eyes, and they look awesome, but they can also fucking destroy you with a punch. They can cut through wetsuits like nothing. Their punch is comparable to a shot bullet. I did, in fact, see videos on that. Their punch causes a spark underwater from the speed and friction. Unfortunately, no videos included in this pack of such things, but I have seen some stuff. I wonder if, like, there's any cases of them breaking glass of their, like, aquarium. Several. Wow. It's pretty cool. Also, yeah, I don't know if I'd want that as a pet. This one's called Phylliroe. I thought there was a naked dude inside that. Chat, don't ask. I don't know. These things may look like fish, but they're not. They're actually sea slugs that have evolved and adapted to swim just like a fish. They also hunt like some fish do. They've also been known to be bioluminescent. It looks like there's like, I don't know, the top one looks like there's like chicken inside of it. Like raw chicken. Very weird. I like how just the word chicken has activated all the sleeper cells in chat to say chicken jockey. You're good little computers, aren't you? Here's the Sixgill Stingray. They are considered to be ancient. They can grow up to around 5.6 feet long and live in depths somewhere between 500 and 1,100 meters deep. Their flexible schnozzes are packed with receptors to help them detect the electrical fields of prey. Unfortunately, their jaws are considered soft, so it is believed they can't eat shellfish or have any hard-shelled prey. It looks worried. Yeah. 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 This thing just wants lobster so bad, and it just can't have it. What is that? Oh, that's its jaw. They're soft. Right. I'm not looking at... I am not looking at the chat room. All right. Headless chicken monster. These are in no way related to chickens, and they're not headless. These things are actually deep-sea cucumbers that have evolved to inhabit the ocean floor. Why the fuck do we call them that, then? I don't claim having had anything to do with that naming. However, they don't spend a lot of their time in the open ocean since their food is located in the ocean floor, so... Sorry. They have tiny tentacles organized in a ring around their mouths, and they pick up whatever they can and shovel it into their open mouth. Even though it's mostly sand and mud they're shoveling in there, they can filter out the edible bits and excrete the sand and mud. So if you see one that looks like it has a visible intestine-like organ, that's just the sand it was slurping up. Oh, wow. It really helps to see these things in motion, to get an idea of how they, like move their bodies freely. Little grippers just there. Those look like a head crab a little bit. Tunicate. These things are related to salps. Tunicates come in large variety of species. A lot of them consist of those whose life goals are to anchor themselves onto a surface and filter feed for the rest of their lives. They have a notochord, which is kind of like an early version of a brain, but when it plants itself in a suitable location to grow into an adult, they'll eat their notochord as well as some of the other organs during their development into adulthood. That's kind of fucking weird. They just eat their brain. Just weird seeing the word testicle, and then like you look at it, it's just this. Just eats its own thing that's kind of like a brain. That's fine. That's totally fine. Here's Salp. These unusual creatures look like they don't have much to them aside from being almost completely transparent, but they share a common ancestor that would later evolve and branch off into the vertebrae. Everything that has a backbone and a developed nervous system, including us, is related to these things that unfortunately look somewhat similar to a fleshlight. They've been known to reproduce by sprouting chains of smaller instances, and they will sometimes stay in these chains until something breaks them off. That's so weird. Chain of salps. Yeah, they just stay together? That's so fucking weird. That's a lot of salps. Amphipod. There are 10,714 different species that exist on our planet. 79% of them live in the ocean. But I'm going to be focusing on one species. The glass amphipod, or Christosoma, are deep-sea inhabitants that have evolved to be almost completely transparent. Sometimes it's even hard for people to spot them when going on diving exhibitions. They are detritivores and scavengers, so basically anything is fair game. I didn't know that word existed, detritivores. They eat detritus. I eat trash! Got one here. Yeah, I just don't think I would want to have this in my hand. I mean, it doesn't look too bad, but boy is that thing clear. Someone has probably tried to eat one of these things, because humans are nuts, and we're like, oh, new species, let's see what it tastes like. What's this one called? Phronima. This is another species of transparent amphipod. If they capture a tunicate, they will most likely eat out its insides and use the gelatinous outsides as a mobile home. What the fuck? Hold the fort. They will lay their eggs inside the hollowed-out corpse so their young may have a chance at survival. Oh my god. I'll show you that in a minute. But, man, nature is fucked up sometimes. Weird. So here's the example of that. The tunicate being hollowed out as a home for their young. The humble tunicate playing its role in nature. And again, Siphonophore. Even though these oceanic oddities are in the same phylum as jellyfish, they're not really related. Siphonophores are what some would call superorganisms or colonial organisms. They're not individuals. Each part of their body is made of smaller organisms called zooids. Each zooid has a job in the colony, like catching food, distributing nutrients among the others, movement, etc. There's a famous case where there was one spotted and filmed in the deep sea and was shown to a Japanese audience. The reaction says it all. This instance would be named the Flying Spaghetti Monster due to its appearance and resemblance to the tasty and holy entity. There was also another famous case that happened recently in the deep sea canyons off Ningaloo in April 2020, where there was an instance spotted in the shape of a spiral, uzumaki. People observing estimated it to be somewhere between over 150 and 390 feet long, making it the longest animal ever documented. It's weird to see people reacting to this, but I mean, their reactions do say it all. It is a very, very fucking weird creature. Oh my god. This was the famous case that happened in the deep sea canyons. There's an instance in the shape of a spiral. 150 to 390 feet long. That's one organism? Longest animal ever documented. That is seriously fucking Uzumaki shit. You want a reaction image? Alright, I gotcha. It's many animals working together. Well, it says here, longest animal ever documented. Here's another reaction. Atolla Jellyfish. These UFO-looking jellyfish usually only grow up to 6.8 inches in diameter and will prey upon small crustaceans or anything else drifting through its tentacles. They also have one longer tentacle that is used to help aid in hunting and reproduction, but what makes them special is that they possess possibly the most advanced bioluminescence in the animal kingdom. They flash in patterns and spin around like a loading icon in a video game. They use this to attract bigger predators if they're being threatened by an already present predator. Wow. A group of scientists invented a device that mimics the light patterns of these jellyfish to attempt to lure larger inhabitants of the deep sea. This device managed to attract a giant squid who came and investigated the light-producing object. Okay, now that is fascinating. We got some videos here. That does look like a flying saucer, doesn't it? Yeah. So we got some videos. Here's the light display. Wow. That's incredible. They do look like lanterns. Whoa, holy shit. Oh, things just got even more insane. I'd be fucking mesmerized if I was a fish. I'd swim up to that thing and get destroyed, crushed, eaten. It does look like a loading bar or a loading icon. So then here's the Medusa camera capturing the giant squid. It's just like a little LED display just going in circles. It's so much more like awful. But wow, it actually did work. Oh, that's fascinating. And there it goes. It just for a second was like, hey, what's going on there? And then, nope, this is metal. This does not appear to be food. The concept of a simple LED is incomprehensible to the humble squid. This pack was amazing. Really informative, really interesting, good choices. I hope you enjoyed this. We learned, but also there was some stuff that was fucking weird and maybe a little bit, like, unsettling. We live on a strange planet with a lot of strange creatures, and over 3/4 of our ocean is unexplored as well as mapped. There's still a lot of stuff we haven't discovered, that we know little about, and that just seems so utterly different from what we're used to. Because, I mean, look at it. Just functions that seem like science fiction and magic.